this is my review of Sonic X. Okay, so in this episode, the citizens of Station Square have begun repairing the city in the aftermath of perfect chaos, Okay, so in this episode, the citizens of Station Square are beginning to repair the city in the wake of perfect chaos, and basically everybody and everything has been changed around a whole bunch in the aftermath of that. Namely, the school has been made into a shelter for people who have lost their homes in the attack. Sonic has been busy doing search and rescue. He's rescuing small children and reuniting them with their families. And during the episode, at one point, he actually rescues Bokoon and Bokoon in his own way tells Sonic that he's thankful for rescuing him, and Sonic says that he's welcome. But more to the point, Mr. Stewart has actually been reassigned. I'll get to that in a minute. And Chris and his immediates and everybody who lived in the Thorndike mansion have been relocated to an apartment until they can rebuild the mansion. So yeah, basically Chris has to move, and he's a little bit mopey about that because he has to leave all of his friends behind. But they assure them that they'll see him again once he gets situated and once he finally comes back. So yeah, Chris just kind of isn't in the kind of just gets moved to another location, and he's may not be involved in the story going forward. I have no idea. But in case, meanwhile, the government at the behest of the president has actually begun building their own Hunter series robots, which are basically like Dr. Eggman's robots, but they're built to actually defeat Dr. Eggman, and also in the process we find out that Sam Speed has actually been assigned to be the president's personal chauffeur, which I guess makes perfect sense. He kind of can't do his job anymore, so he has to get another job in the meantime, and working for the president is kind of a big step up. So in any case, they're building their Hunter series robots, and they gloat about how they're technically superior to Eggman's robots in every way. But Dr. Eggman, who used a small robot to spy on them, questions their actual ability to actually build competent robots that can actually defeat him, and begins hacking into the computer files to see just what kind of robots they've made. And in the process, he finds an old file on his grandfather, Dr. Gerald Robotnik, and discovers that he was actually born on Earth rather than Mobius, like he originally thought, and comes to the conclusion that they are equal but separate realities, and that they are indeed one and the same. But for whatever reason, he wound up on Mobius rather than Earth. So he begins digging a little bit deeper, which obviously winds up alerting the government to the fact that he's hacking into the files. And begins swiping, while he's able to cover his tracks, he does eventually find out information about Project Shadow, a supposed organism that Dr. Gerald Robotnik that Professor Gerald Robotnik actually created, and realizes that if Project Shadow is as powerful as Robotnik says it is, that Dr. Eggman should definitely reawaken it and use its power to take over the world. And with that, he proceeds to go to where it's being held, Prison Island. And meanwhile, Chris is having a bit of a hard time adjusting, and Chuck is quick to realize that his grandson is kind of having a hard time adjusting. So he reminds him that all of his friends, mainly his Mobius-related ones, the Mobians specifically, all went through what he's going through, and they kind of just took it at face value and went with it. So he shouldn't be moping either. And Chris cheers up after hearing that. Meanwhile, the president, having found out that Eggman has hacked into the government and stolen some of their important files regarding Project Shadow, using the password Maria, which again becomes important because it's also his cousin. they realize that they actually need Rouge and Topaz to actually look into Project Shadow and what it is, and try to stop Dr. Eggman from awakening it and using it to take over the world. And they're also curious as to why exactly Dr. Eggman in particular is so invested in this, and what his connection to this project actually could wind up being. So, and sure enough, Rouge and Topaz realize that they need to get information out of Dr. Eggman, but since they realize he's not going to talk willingly, they realize that they need to steal a Chaos Emerald. But unfortunately, for the most part, they're all on Angel Island. So they decide to go there to go find one. But in any case, they do eventually find one, and Knuckles is automatically very in hot pursuit, because they wound up stealing the Master Emerald instead, and he quickly pursues after Rouge and Topaz, and Rouge is wearing a face covering so that nobody can see her face, but Knuckles eventually catches up to her and begins battling her, pointing out that she can't steal the Master Emerald for obvious reasons, and the two start fighting. But eventually Knuckles hesitates once he accidentally knocks off Rouge's face covering and discovers who she is, at which point she's able to sneak away with the Master Emerald and leave. So basically Rouge steals the Master Emerald like she does in Sonic Adventure 2, I believe. But in any case, the episode actually ends with Dr. Eggman breaking into Prison Island. So Dr. Eggman is actually, but also, and I should probably bring this up, that Mr. Stewart has actually been relocated for whatever reason to a news report site and is trying to do his own investigation into Project Shadow. And to that end, he hires a reporter who has a personal history with Project Shadow, because her father tried to cover it before. So he asks her to help him out. And sure enough, she agrees after enough prodding. But the episode actually ends with Dr. Eggman breaking into Prison Island and trying to get to the room where Project Shadow is being held. And while the government sends their robots to actually stop him, because Dr. Eggman stole the schematics for all of the robots, he knows all of their weaknesses and is able to get to Project Shadow's storage room no problem. At which point he finds a giant cryogenic chamber and quickly realizing that the only way to wake it up is with a Chaos Emerald, pulls out a Chaos Emerald that he, for whatever reason, has and just found. It's never explained why he has this, why he just has it, but he uses the Master Emerald and the password Maria again to wake up Project Shadow, but is a bit surprised as to what he finds. We never actually see it, but it's clearly a hedgehog of some sort. And I'm just playing a little bit coy because it hasn't been revealed yet, but I think everybody who watches at home and also is a fan of Sonic games knows exactly who this character is. I think people know who I'm talking about, but in any case, yeah, this one sets up the plotline for Sonic Adventure 2. So it's going to be very interesting seeing how they actually adapt it again. There are obviously some liberties, like for example, everybody being cleaning up in the aftermath of Station Square, which, if I recall correctly, didn't actually happen in the games. But in any case, it's going to be interesting seeing exactly how they actually proceed to go forward with this. And I'm interested to see what exactly it is that they actually do with this, because they did a really good job with Sonic Adventure 1 in the last arc, and I'm interested to see what they do with Sonic Adventure 2. So we're going to be seeing that over the next couple of episodes. But in case, that's my review of Sonic X. What did you guys think? Let's get a discussion going in the comment section down below, or over on my Discord server, link in the description. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, be sure to follow me on Facebook and on Twitter in the description below. And also, be sure to check out my Patreon in the description below as well. It's only a couple bucks a month. It really helps me out, and you guys get access to a bunch of cool perks that I'm always saying thanks. So be sure to check this out in the description below as well. But in any case, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, I will see you guys in the next video. Peace!